Hey, welcome to the very first episode of Content is Currency, brought to you by Table 8 Media. I'm Asha, a content producer and strategist, and I help businesses and organizations create video and social content that doesn't just fill a feed, it actually drives results. This podcast is for business owners, founders, and leaders who know content matters, but don't want it to take over their entire life. My job here is to break down what's changing in social media and marketing, what it means for your business, and how to turn content into something that pays off instead of something that just stresses you out. So let's get into the very first big question, and it's one I hear all the time. Do I really need to be on every single platform? You know the drill. One expert says you've got to be on TikTok. Another says LinkedIn is the place to be. Someone else swears by YouTube. Then you hear about threads, newsletters, podcasts, Facebook groups. Suddenly, it feels like the only way to keep up is to clone yourself 5 times. And if you've ever felt like you're falling behind because you're not posting everywhere, let me just say, you're not alone. But here's the truth. Trying to be everywhere usually means you're not really anywhere. When you spread yourself across 5, 6, 7 platforms, a few things happen. You burn out. You post inconsistently, and the content you do share is usually rushed, unfocused, and doesn't actually move your business forward. It's the classic case of doing more, but getting less. So let's flip that idea on its head. You don't need to be everywhere. You need to be where your audience is, and you need a system that makes your content stretch further. That's it. Let's break this down. The first step is clarity. Where are your people? This is the question that matters more than any trend. Forget what platform is hot this month. Forget what the gurus are shouting about. Ask yourself, where does your actual audience spend time? If you're a B2B company, LinkedIn is often your best bet. If you're in retail or lifestyle, Instagram might be your home base. If you're in tech or creative industries, YouTube could be where you build depth. The key is, different businesses have different audiences, and not every audience is everywhere. Now, I can already hear the pushback. But Asha, if I only post on 1 or 2 platforms, aren't I missing out on everyone else? And here's where the second piece comes in, repurposing. Repurposing is how you get the most out of your content without working yourself into the ground. Let's say you create one really strong video for Instagram Reels. That same video can be posted to TikTok with a different caption. It can be clipped down into a YouTube short. You can pull a couple of key sentences from it and post them on LinkedIn as text. You can even expand it into an email newsletter. 1 idea, 5 executions. That's leverage. That's how you stay visible without making content your second full-time job. And this is where working with a professional partner, like what we do at Table 8 Media, can make a huge difference. We don't just help clients make content, we help them build content systems. Systems that take one idea and multiply it across formats and platforms, because anyone can post a quick video, but not everyone knows how to make that video work for them in 5 different places, consistently, week after week. That's strategy. Now let's talk about the mistake I see too many businesses make. Chasing platforms instead of chasing strategy. A business owner hears that TikTok is hot, so they start cranking out random videos that don't even connect to their brand. Another hears that YouTube is essential, so they throw together long, unedited videos no one has the time to watch. Someone else tries to post daily across 5 platforms, and within 2 weeks, they're completely burned out. The result? Wasted energy. No real traction, and frustration that content doesn't work. But here's the reality. Content does work if you treat it like an investment instead of a scramble. Think about it. You wouldn't invest your money by throwing a little bit into 10 random stocks you know nothing about. You'd pick the ones that align with your goals and stick with them. Content works the same way. Focus, consistency, and strategy always win. So let's get practical. Here's a framework I give clients. Step 1, pick your primary platform. This is where you show up the most because it's where your audience is most active. Step 2. Pick your secondary platform. This is where you repurpose content from your primary platform. Step 3. Build a system that takes one big idea and stretches it across both platforms. Here's a real-world example. Let's say you're a marketing consultant. Your primary platform might be LinkedIn because that's where decision makers live. Your secondary platform could be YouTube, where you go deeper with tutorials and case studies. You film a 5-minute video about 3 common mistakes businesses make with branding. That's your anchor content. From that one video, you create 3 short clips for LinkedIn and YouTube Shorts. Each one highlights one mistake. You also take the transcript, polish it up, and post it as a LinkedIn article. You grab a couple of quotes and turn them into graphics for Instagram. Suddenly, one piece of content has multiplied into a week's worth of posts, and all of it points back to you as the expert. That's the game. Not being everywhere, but being consistent and intentional where it matters. And here's why this is so important. Time. Your time is the most valuable currency you have. Every hour you spend chasing trends on a platform that doesn't even reach your audience is an hour you're not spending serving clients, growing your business, or leading your team. When you narrow your focus and build repurposing into your process, you free up time and you still get visibility. And there's another hidden benefit: consistency. Audiences can smell half-hearted content a mile away. They can tell when you're just throwing stuff out to stay active, but they can also tell when you're showing up regularly with thoughtful on-brand content. And that's what builds trust. That's what builds reputation. That's what turns content into currency. So if you've been feeling overwhelmed by the idea of being everywhere, I want you to give yourself permission to step back. You don't have to do it all. You just need to do the right things. Here's your action step from this episode. Take 10 minutes today and write down 2 things. Number 1, where your audience actually spends time. Number 2, how you can take one idea and turn it into at least 3 pieces of content. That's it. Start small, start simple, but start with intention. And if you're listening and thinking, this all sounds great, but I don't know where to begin, that's exactly where Table 8 Media comes in. We help businesses and organizations build the systems that keep content flowing without burning out their team. Not just random videos, but real strategy that drives results. So let's wrap this up. The myth that you need to be everywhere? Total myth. The truth is, you need clarity, consistency, and a system that multiplies your effort. That's how you win the content game. Thanks for hanging out with me on this very first episode of Content is Currency, brought to you by Table 8 Media. If today's episode hit home for you, send me a message. Tell me what platforms you're focusing on or where you feel stuck. And if you're curious about how we help businesses create constant, consistent content that actually works, let's have a conversation. No pressure, just a chat. This is just the beginning. I've got a lot more to share about how you can make content work smarter, not harder. So hit that follow button, stick around, and let's keep building together. I'm Asher, and this is Content is Currency. See you in the next episode.